I broke all my cars. So today I'm gonna try and diagnose and fix what I can, starting with the Turbo Miata. I think it's probably the easiest one to fix, and it's one I most miss driving. So let's check it out, get this thing back on the road. Thank God this car is light. For those of you new to the channel, let's give you a quick rundown on what this car is. This is my 2001 NB Miata, which is now turbocharged with an ISR turbo kit. It made 260 wheel horsepower, 260 torque, and it's running on ethanol through D-Works injectors and a Haltech ECU. And it has been phenomenal as far as the power band and reliability. Now for suspension, I have the full Destroyer die kit. That's front and rear. It's a super angle kit up front. It's very adjustable. It's been fantastic. The differential is a COS 1.5 way. It has been one of the biggest upgrades I've done so far, and just some little bits here and there that make this car one of my favorites to drive. I've done drifting, time attack, and then a whole bunch of daily driving with it. So it's been a very good car to me. I got a little bit crazy on the last drift event, and I broke maybe the axle or the diff, and that's what we're gonna find out today. All right, the car's in the air and ready to be inspected and diagnosed, but let me tell you what happened first and what I think is the issue. I went up to a local drift event here in Drift Indy for the luau, drift luau. It was really fun, it was a good time. I brought the Miata up, and, you know, maybe I'll drive, maybe I won't. I did end up driving, and I drove with one of my good friends, Alec. He's a really good driver, he's got a very fast car, and I was trying my best to keep up. I got a little too in the moment, maybe one too many clutch kicks, revs jumped up, car went nowhere. I think I broke an axle. I'm hoping I broke an axle. Could be a diff. So before I actually take off the wheels, I'm gonna rotate these things, look underneath it, and hopefully find that it's just an axle, because I do have a spare and I don't have a spare diff. Before I pop under the car, I'm gonna check from the top what's going on. I have the handbrake down. Everything should be free, it's not in gear. So I'm just gonna see if there's any resistance or if anything spins. This is an LSD, so if I spin this, the other wheel should spin as well. So if it doesn't, which I know it probably won't, we're gonna have a problem. So let's see. Oh yeah, wow. There's like absolutely zero resistance. So that's driver's side. Let's see what the passenger side feels like. Yeah, I can hear a little movement here, and it feels definitely like there's more resistance. So that's kind of a good sign. Lead me to believe that it could possibly be an axle on the driver's side. And that's what I was hoping for, because I do have an axle, but let's go ahead and pop underneath and see what it looks like. Could still be a diff. All right away, I noticed there's some fluid here on the exhaust, and a bunch of little bit of sludge here. I kind of had a suspicion that the axle was going out for a long time, so could be it. A little bit of stuff on the diff here. So let's just rotate this wheel. Well, the whole axle spins. Like I said, zero resistance on this, but this is not a good looking sign here for the axle. Now, the whole thing's spinning from the wheel when I spin it, so I don't think it's broken anywhere over here. That's still connected, so it's probably just into the diff itself. And you can kind of see that I got a little separation here. Wonder if it could have just popped out, honestly. Oh no. Oh, take a look at this. I think that's our problem. Yeah, it is just snapped off that shaft. So that could be real fun to get out that shaft in there. That's probably banging around in the diff. That's no good. Yeah, that's not a fun time. So I may have to take off this exhaust. We'll see. I'm gonna pull off the wheel, pull off the suspension, get this axle out of here first, and then we'll inspect the diff and see if we can get what's broken off out of there easily. It's usually not an easy job. All right, for pulling this axle off, first order of business is pretty much take off the brake caliper. It's to 14 millimeters. Get that out of the way, and then we'll pull off the axle nut, which is a 32 millimeter. And then up here, we're gonna take out the bolt for the rear upper control arm and see if we can lean this forward enough to get this axle out of here. That's pretty much the least amount of work I wanna do. So hopefully that all works out and I don't have to take apart more. Wow, that's a really clean snap on that axle. So just like that, the other side would look something similar to this. That is stuck inside the diff. And that makes it a big pain in the ass because it has a snap ring on there. And I don't know if I'll be able, normally you can pop it out. You can pry it off of this to pop it out of the diff. So now that that's in there and I have nothing to grab onto, I mean, the options are you could weld something to it, which I'm definitely not going to do, and probably just end up taking out the diff and popping it out from the inside, unfortunately. So as you can see here, that guy's stuck in there. And that has a pin holding it in, which normally you can pop out, but this is going to be a pain. It also ripped that boot. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to have to probably pull the diff out and pop that out from the inside. Let me show you what it's supposed to go like when you pop this axle out. And then you can see what I'm battling internally in the diff. All right, so as I crawl under here, you can see, got that axle out, and then we have this guy still in here. Now, what I gotta do is basically just put a pry bar in here and just give it a quick jolt, and that should pop this thing free and come right on out. Doesn't require that much. Pretty much just that simple. That pops right out, just like that. And you can see this snap ring here is basically what's preventing me from getting this shaft out. This is where this was snapped inside of the diff. So this, from here on, is inside the diff, and this snap ring is holding this piece in. I can't get a good grip on this, so that's why I'm gonna have to pull out the diff and poke it out from the inside. After thinking about it, the other axle came out fairly easy. So before I go ahead and take out the diff, I'm going to give one good try. Pop out the seal on the other side. Should give me a little bit more room to get around that. See if I can get a vice grip or something on it and just give it a pop. If it comes out, it really saved my day and saved me a lot of time. So it's worth a shot. I'm gonna try it and see if it works. Dang. Come on, baby. Oh. Oh, I think we got it. Bingo. Well, that's a great success. That saves me a lot of time. So, got a good grip with the vice grips on there and just a slow, nice pry. Took a couple tries, but got it. That makes me really happy. So now all I have to do is go order another seal. I could put that one back in there. I think it would work, but I might as well get a new one just because I don't wanna, I'm already here. It's like 13 bucks, maybe. So, gonna go up to the parts store, try and get one of those. If I can't get one today, then I'll wait. I have a spare axle and you can see the boot's ripped and that was kind of pissing me off. That's why I replaced it with the one that is currently broken. So I'm gonna order another axle and I'm assuming it'll be a couple days before I get that. Car will stay in the air. I'm gonna move on to something else. It's a new day. I got paused yesterday because I thought I had a spare axle. I do, it kind of works. It's a little bit on the way out. So I didn't want to use that. I want to replace it with something that was kind of on its way out. I ordered a new axle yesterday. It did come in, so I do have the new axle. And it's ready to go in. So, a perfect rainy day to put this car back together. Unfortunately, it is raining and this car is not very waterproof, so when I do get this back together, I don't really have time to test drive it because it's like pouring out there. If it was a little rain, no big deal, but it's a lot of rain. I did also order some new seals, and they are coming in today, but I'm a little bit impatient, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this old one in. If it leaks, I have 2 new seals. It's really not that big of a deal to take that apart, pop the axles out, pop these in. So I don't think it'll leak, but I'm gonna order another set of spare axles just in case this happens at the track, that I can replace everything I need and I'll have an extra set of seals and axles for the track, and I won't have to stop my event and go home. So I'd like to have a backup set of spares. This will probably work. Anyway, let's slap this thing back together and see if it solves every problem and the diff is okay. Let's get this guy in there. Rotate it a little bit, make sure it lines up. All right, seems like it's in. Let's see if we can coax this guy in. Max the camber. One quick tip that I like to do while I'm doing this, I mean, you could put the bolt either direction, it doesn't matter. I like to put the bolts facing the rear of the car. If you're going and this nut does loosen up, this will be harder to fall out than if it was the other way and that bolt could fall out. So, I don't know, it's a small thing, but at the track it can matter, and you'd be able to find it. You definitely feel that it was loose before it would have actually fallen out. Don't have to kill it. My hub-centric spacer. These wheels don't fit great. I'm sure this angle really showcases how dirty my car is, but it's also very helpful to have these destroy or die arms because it made everything very simple to take apart and put back together. And it's really easy for adjustment. So, Miata guys, look up Destroy or Die. They're pretty much amazing. All right, so that was pretty simple. Everything's back together, and I'm gonna try and test it before. Like I said, it's raining outside. It's actually raining pretty hard if you can't hear it. So I'm going to run it on the jack stands, run it through the gears, make sure that there's nothing wrong with the diff, listen for some noises. Hopefully nothing is apart inside the diff or there's little broken bits of metal, which there very well could be. Now that I'm a little bit nervous about it, I'm probably gonna drain the fluid and inspect that too, make sure there's no little bits in there. But I'm gonna run it first and see if there's anything in there. So it looks like both wheels are moving, which is good, and I think it's fixed. I would love to take it for a test drive, but I can't right now because it's pouring down rain. So I'm gonna get everything back together, put it on the ground, back it up into its space, and then we'll take a look at the S14, see what's going on with that thing. This jack point from Street Fashion is probably one of the best investments for a drift car with a body kit. drives again. As I've opened the door, the weather's kind of changed. And it's turned out to be a fairly nice day, so let's get the S14 out of the way and go take the Miata for a test drive and see if we actually fixed it. Well, it drives forward, so that's good. One thing I noticed as I was getting in is I think I broke the other window. So that sucks. Cars, man. Freaking cars. Something's always broken. Summertime and it's gorgeous outside. It's the only car I have that I can drive with the top down, and yeah, turbo noises with the top down is really good, and I live on some really good roads. Woo! Still got power, getting loose in the corners. Happy to have this car back. This is the only reason I moved here, but it's a pretty good reason. It was up there on the list. I did scout the roads around the area in which I moved, and they are all phenomenal. I really love being surrounded by such awesome roads, and it's a pleasure to drive every day. It doesn't matter what car I'm in, because I've surrounded myself with good cars, whether it's the Miata, the S14, and even the daily driver Honda Fit. Now, Honda Fit is fantastic out here. It's probably the best because it's the most unassuming vehicle, and you can corner so well out here. I guess it's safe to say that the Miata is fixed. It feels fantastic. I really missed this car. It was only down for a couple weeks, but I really missed it. As you can see, these roads are amazing. The car is built for this kind of stuff. And I mean, 260 wheel horsepower, 260 torque, a good diff. It just feels phenomenal. You know, say what you want about the Midwest. I don't care. I love it. Stay away from it. More fun and abandoned roads for me. So don't come to the Midwest. Leave it to us. Whoa, dude, horsefly. Yeah. I'm gonna punch that thing. Alright. Oh yeah, I think the GoPro was running. Well, I'll start that over. Oopsies.